Much has already been said about the winner of 2019's Best Picture Oscar, and while I am very slow to this party, I think the fact that I'm still compelled to add to that conversation, that alone is a testament to just how amazing this film really is. And part of the reason that this film is so outstanding is it is so many things. So, like I just mentioned a second ago, this is the winner of the Best Picture Academy Award, but it's not just an awards darling. It's also extremely popular with the average moviegoer around the world because, again, it is so many things. It is firing on all cylinders in every single department. Every single department. So is this film an extremely riveting and often confronting social commentary that will speak to viewers from both the upper and lower class? Yes. Is it also this laugh-out-loud comedy that just allows us to sit back and have a great time at the movies? Yes. Is it also extremely clever and delightfully unpredictable, stuffed to the bursting with these shocking twists and turns, one of which being that it isn't just a comedy, but also a con film, a drama, a tragedy, a thriller, a horror film? Yep. And is it, in addition to being really clever and well-written on the page, masterfully directed, acted, shot, edited, and scored? You bet. Bong Joon-ho's Parasite is one of those rare examples of a work of art being both a movie, something that is entertaining, fun, and exciting, as well as a film, something that is contemplative, challenging, and open-ended. I'll confess to you guys right now that I am a slow reader. I always have been, and this very unfortunately has kept me from watching and sometimes enjoying foreign films as much as I want to. I just want to be able to watch the film, not read the film. Fortunately, though, the cinematic language on display in Parasite was so powerfully communicative, I was grabbed from the first scene and my attention was held all the way through to the final moment. So even if I wasn't able to pick up every single word in every single scene, I was always able to understand what was being expressed. I could go on and on about the fantastic, extremely intentional, and wonderfully expressive visual language found in this film alone. We are told through dialogue, sure, the economic status of the Kim family and the Park family, but we are made to know and understand and feel that information through the way that their environments are lit and the colors that are chosen in them, as well as how the camera chooses to compose and frame them. The camera movement, for example, is almost always descending when it's in the Kim residence, while it's regularly ascending when it's in the Park residence. What I find to be even more impressive and utterly essential to the success of this film is its rhythm. This is something that Bong Joon-ho has always been excellent at, and you can definitely see it in things like Snowpiercer and The Host, which, if you've not seen those films, do yourself a favor and check them out. But he really has perfected it with Parasite. The way that he edits together sequences and then edits those sequences together into this larger whole, it has this very captivating rhythm, which allows him to quite effortlessly segue us from one dramatically different tone to another. He's made a film that feels like this epic piece of music, with the highs and lows, mountains and valleys, fast and slow, and he can move from one to the other because, again, he's captured us in and with this rhythm. And when those switch-ups feel both surprising and strange, as well as perfectly inevitable and right, you know that that rhythm is working. To use another analogy, watching Parasite is a bit like dancing with an extremely experienced partner. It guides you into its rhythm, starting out light and slow perhaps, but then with a strong and guiding hand pulls you a dramatically different direction. And when this is done right, like it is on Parasite, this cinematic dance can be a really good time. And while on the topic of rhythm and movement, another reason that Parasite works as well as it does is even when it's moving more slowly, it's still completely engaging and involving. The first 45 minutes, for example, which were indeed just a little bit slower, were utterly enrapturing. And every subsequent chapter maintains that. So the opening of the film keeps our attention because it's this delightful combination of a laugh-out-loud comedy and sometimes this poignant drama. It invites us into the Kim family's home and very quickly gets us to fall in love with them and desperately want good things for them. It gets us to sympathize with their less than ideal situation and consequently root for its change. And then it goes and switches things up completely and becomes this con film of sorts. And we watch this same family, this same group of characters start to wedge their way into, in increasingly sketchy ways, the Park family. And not only is this a different and exciting narrative progression, it's a switch up of the rhythm and formula that expertly interacts with what came before it. Having just gotten us to really like the Kim family, Bong Joon-ho wants us to challenge that connection, because that gets us to think, that gets us to engage, that gets us to pay that much closer attention as we're forced to weigh, do we actually approve of what they're doing and why they're doing it? And he doesn't make it easy at all. I mean, it would be one thing if they were just taking advantage of some rich snobs, but to displace a faithful housekeeper? And no sooner has the Kim family risen to the top of that storyline, mastering the rhythm and movement of that section of the film, than a brand new one is quite forcibly introduced. And this pattern of change keeps up, before long really forcing us to lean forward and really pay attention, equal parts excited and terrified to see where it will take us next. And while indeed Parasite does have these shocking twists and turns, and again is just stuffed to the bursting with a lot of unpredictability, if you step back from it and look at the whole, you will actually see this very carefully, very intentionally laid series of dominoes. That which was established and set up in the first 5 minutes, for example, back when we thought that all this was a light family drama, is perfectly paid off an hour or two later when the film has transformed into something very different, which ultimately allows all of those setups to be recontextualized and reinterpreted later on. And again, this connects to what we've been talking about this entire time, and really why this film is as successful as it is. It works on so many different levels. It's firing on all cylinders, and it allows so many different viewers with so many different tastes and expectations to really walk away with something to remember and connect with. I cannot finish this review without praising the way that Bong Joon-ho directs his actors. Like everything in it, their performances and their styles of acting are indeed very cohesive and uniform, but also so very idiosyncratic and surprising. So while the camera work, lighting, and editing found in Parasite are so very precise, oftentimes reminding me of the control on display in a Hitchcock or even David Fincher film, the performances from the actors feel so very just alive and raw and unexpected. They really do allow us to, in certain scenes, just settle into something that feels very normal, very relatable, only to suddenly explode, either for comedic or terrifying effect, into something that feels wholly other. And while the performance from Kang Ho Song is most certainly the most dynamic and oftentimes delightfully crazy, it also wouldn't work as well as it does without the ever-grounded and often underplayed performances from So-Dam Park and Woo-Sik Choi. Yes, this film is as good as I am making it sound, and I would highly recommend that you check it out if you have not done so yet, even if you are like me and are a very slow reader. And for all these reasons, I will give the film a 5 out of 5 and a heart. I would still love to know what you guys thought of the film though, so definitely comment below and let me know. And I'm also curious, what is your favorite foreign language film? I really enjoy the work from Alfonso Cuarón as well as Guillermo del Toro, things like Pan's Labyrinth, as well as Roma and Y Tu Mama Tambien. Finally, please do subscribe. I'm going to continue to review films and television on this channel, and I would love for you to stay up to date on all of those things. But for now, I'm Chris Hartwell. This is The Heartbeat. Thank you for joining me.